Good morning. Welcome to New Life. It's good to be with you this morning. It's been busy. Brian said we got babies being born. We had marriage conference. The Seahawks have already played. I know. The Huskies beat the Ducks. There's some good things. See, yeah, there we go. There's some good things going on in the world. If we've never met before, my name's David Day. If we have met, my name is still David Day. And we're going to have some fun today. Real quick, my brain, I have some ADHD, so some of you guys are like, oh no, I'm going to try to keep it linear today. But here's where we're going today. I want to give you just a quick snapshot. Would you throw it on the screen, Nathan, real quick? We're going to go, hello, it's me. We've done that. What's happening today? Hot takes, kindergarten, house rules. There's 3 types. Signs, the days. Romans 12, part 3. That's where we're at today. Orthodoxy versus orthopraxy. Living, sacrifice, lifestyle. Me to we. What makes a church? Romans 9 through 21. Are you ready? All right, here we go. We are 4 weeks away from we're 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving, 6 weeks away from Christmas. Like Christmas is 6 weeks away from today. So I have some hot takes. I want to see where we're at, know my people in the room. I believe that Elf is the greatest Christmas movie ever made. Where are we at? Anybody agree with me? Where are my Christmas vacation people at? Home Alone. I just got to clarify, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. There's snow and Christmas happens. It's not a Christmas movie, okay? Next one, this one is like probably core like belief to me. Christmas music should not be played until after Thanksgiving. All right, we're the people that are playing it already. Forgiven, we pray for you. We don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. Okay, this next one might be the hottest take of them all. I think Thanksgiving is a greater holiday than Christmas. Anybody? Okay, we got a couple. Some people are like, are you allowed to say that? I know the whole Jesus born thing. I just love Thanksgiving. To me, there's something, I got engaged on Thanksgiving, so maybe it's not fair. Okay, I had to find some grace. Now, this next one might actually undo what I just said, but I think ham is greater than turkey. Yes. It doesn't put you to sleep, and it doesn't look like when it's alive that it's going to kill you. And also, ham is a brother of bacon, so it therefore is just better already. Thank you so much. Lastly, this one, I just think giving is better than receiving. And I think in this season, one thing I love is New Life First, in this time of year, are traditionally just outrageously generous. We love to meet needs in our community. And today, when you walked in, first you saw the food bank truck right there. We want to be a church that says there's people doing great work. We want to partner with them. Read a statistic this week that 18% of kids in Kitsap County are food insecure. That means that their families have to choose between buying them school supplies and buying them food. And as a church, we want to be people that say, no, that's not who we're going to be. We want to meet real needs in practical ways. We are the hands and feet of Jesus here. And then this year, we had Olive Crest come up to us. They're a local foster care agency. And they said, hey, would you buy all the Christmas gifts for our kids this year? And on behalf of you, I said, absolutely. New Life will do that. We have 400 tags of foster kids in our community. And I said, New Life Central Kitsap, we'll take 150. So 400 across the campuses, 150 here. And this one's near and dear to my heart because my wife, before she had her kids and stayed home for a while, she worked as a social worker with Olive Crest in the foster care world. And she went into homes and she watched families have kids taken, and she watched families receive kids with open arms, and she's seen the kids that are impacted by your generosity. This building has hosted Christmas parties where bio families and foster families are here giving gifts to the kids because people like you say, I want to make a difference. And I know this, not everybody can be a foster parent, but everyone can support a foster family. And so as a church, I want to encourage you, would you grab one? I have Elena right here. She's 3 years old. There's a 3-year-old. She wants Barbies, stuffies, and coloring books. Don't we want to give Elena this? This year, this is the church we want to be. So here's what I'd love to do. I'd love to pray and then jump in. Jesus, would you be in this space today? God, thank you for all that you've given us in this season of saying thanks. Would we be people that pour back out of our thanks generosity? Would we live open lives? we open our hands, God, and thank you so much for being with the Huskies yesterday. They needed you. Praise in your name. Amen. Amen. He had to choose Huskies, Seahawks. He chose Huskies. Hey, this is my family coming up here. This is Melissa right there. That's my daughter Sadie. She's 6, and that's Sam. He's just a terror. But this is probably a more accurate photo of who we are right here. This is Sadie. We were booing the neighbors, which is giving them something. Sadie's like, I want to be Captain America, but squirrel version. So that's what she went for right there. But this year, Sadie started kindergarten, which is so fun and so many emotions. But she's been coming home and saying things she didn't say after preschool. She's been saying, Dad, why is Jameson allowed to say whatever the word may be? But, stupid, another 4-letter word that I didn't expect to come out of her mouth. And I remember looking at her and go, well, you should ask your mom, you know? And she goes over to Melissa, and Melissa says, well, different families have different rules. She comes home the next day, she goes, Dad, why is Jameson allowed to watch this show? And I go, well, is it the same answer? I'm like, go ask your mom. Different families have different rules. Dad, why is Jameson's family allowed to root for the Cougars? Because some families are okay losing. And but here's what I've learned. Different families, that's all my Husky stuff, okay? That's all I've got. Different families have different rules. And here's my guess. You grew up in a family. Do you have some house rules? Like I'm convinced there's 3 types of people. There's house at the house. You can have your shoes on. Anybody here shoes on people? Okay, shoes off. And house slippers. Where are my house slippers? Yeah, we all think you're rich. That's all we need to know. But there's different rules for playing games. Some people play Monopoly the right way. Some people play Monopoly the wrong way. Some people are smart and they just don't play Monopoly because it takes 6 hours. My wife and I, we love a card game called Nerds. I don't know if you've ever played Nerds. If you're in here, you'll get this. Thank you. There's like 4 of you. I walked into her family, and it's a speed like solitaire game where you're trying to go against each other. And her family's like, you're only allowed to play with one hand. I was like, God gave you 2. Why would you go one hand? And so they're like, I'm like, this is the worst thing in the world. She came to my house, and we're like, she looked like deer in the headlights. I don't know what to do. There's different rules around technology. Growing up, we were not allowed to watch Rugrats. I don't know where you're at. We weren't allowed to watch Rugrats. Usually they make rules for a reason. And ours was my older brother, Carrie. When he watched Rugrats, he would act like Angelica, which was a problem because he already had a girl's name. So we were trying to figure him out. But my family, we were so strict in the technology world that my mom bought this box called Curse-Free TV. It was this box that you would put in and you'd plug in, and it would go ahead and it would read the captions ahead of you. And when it got to a word that it found, the box had its own like moral compass apparently, that it found offensive or wrong, it would mute the TV and put in a new caption, replacing the word. So we would be watching this show, and it'd be Jimmy and Tom, and they're getting in a fight, and Jimmy goes, Tom, and then it just like mutes. I'm gonna kick your toe. So at home, we would always be like, I'm going to kick your toe. We didn't know what we were saying, but we know Jimmy said it. If I called you a son of a clown, that was not a good thing. You were not funny. My brothers one day were trying to watch Saving Private Ryan, and they were convinced it was a silent film. Because the whole time, it was just caption, 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 caption. And what's funny is in homes, we have different rules. We have different ways of doing it. Usually it's because we're trying to figure out what sets us apart. What makes us different? And there's different ways we communicate. There's unspoken rules. Like if there's a recliner in your house that's just for a matriarch or a patriarch, that's usually an unspoken rule. Nobody sits there, you just know it. Then there's spoken rules that you say over and over and over. And then I'm convinced there's signs that you put up in your house. My wife, her mom is basically Hobby Lobby's #1 customer. You know, like she's just like her entire house is just signs with words. And I'm walking around the house, first time I ever get there, I have to use the restroom. I'm like, can I use the restroom? They said, yeah, you can use the master restroom. Which, by the way, is an unspoken rule in my house growing up. You never use the master restroom. Specifically, guests never went there. And so I'm like feeling awkward already walking in. I look at the mirror where her mom gets ready, and there's a sign there that says this. It says, it's better to arrive late than to arrive ugly. And I was like, I feel like there's another option. I feel like there's a third way here that we can make a decision. But apparently I've been arriving ugly to a lot of places my entire life. And so my wife being a Hobby Lobby, child of Hobby Lobby, she now does signs. And so we have signs all over our house. This is one of my favorite. It's coffee, anyone? The secret rule under this is please don't talk to me until I've had 2 cups of coffee. My wife is like, it's 10 a.m. or 2 cups of coffee. That's the rule every time you see this. Then there's this one. It says, this is our happily ever after. Aww. Here's the real thing behind this. She's like, you chose this. This is your life. Make it happy or die. Like that is our rule. This will be our happily ever after. But this sign right here is like the nearest and dearest to my heart. We're the Day family, and growing up, my dad used to say this to me. He used to say, have a good day and be a good day. I know, right? And every time we leave the home, it would say, have a good day and be a good day. And my daughter, a.k.a. my wife, gave this to me because my daughter was 2, for Father's Day one year. And this saying right here was a house rule. It was a house culture statement that changed everything for me. Every time I left the home, I felt like you're a part of a family. You're a Day. There's something to being in this family. You belong here. When you walk out of this house, you are an extension of who we are as a people. I waited for the day where I got to look at my kid and say, have a good day and be a good day. Where I got to look at somebody in the eyes and say, you belong just as much as I belonged. And so every day I drop Sadie off at school and I say, have a good day and be a good day. And then we've adopted a saying for ourselves. It's this, we're the Days. We're kind and encouraging, and we look for lonely people. So every day I drop Sadie off. I'm like, Sadie, have a good day and be a good day and be kind, encouraging, and look for lonely people, and don't let any boys kiss you. We added that at the end. But what I realized is the reason we have house sayings and the reason we have house rules and the reason we have house signs is because we want to establish who we are as a people. Like, who is my family? There's a whole bunch of people going to try to speak into my daughter's world, going to try to speak into my son's identity, going to speak into who we are. We're pregnant with my wife's pregnant with our 3rd kid. It's coming in January, and this little girl's going to show up, and we're going to want to speak life over her and tell her who she is and tell her what we think makes her different and help form her and shape her and set her apart. I want my kids to be rare, resourceful, accountable, resilient, and empathetic. And the world's not going to teach them that. They got to learn that from somewhere. They got to learn how we interact and how we react and how we move and how we go through this world. I want them to have a good day and be a good day. And as we open our Bibles today to Romans chapter 12, I want you to know that's exactly what Paul is doing. He's in a moment in the scripture where he's trying to say, this is who you are as a people. This is what makes us a church. You're in Romans chapter 12, and we've been walking through Romans backwards. We've been going from 16 to 12, and I've actually loved this because Romans is normally a book that people hold pretty heavy-handed. Does that make sense? Like it's one where they go, this is our theology and our doctrine and our dogma. In seminary, I was sitting in a class, and one of my professors said there's a difference between orthodoxy and orthopraxy. Orthodoxy is a set of beliefs. Literally, the word means right opinion or right beliefs. Everybody has their own orthodoxy, right? And then orthopraxy is behavior. It's how your orthodoxy plays out in the way that you live, move, and breathe. It doesn't matter if this is theology and doctrine and dogma, if it actually doesn't change the way you live. Can we be people that the things we believe shift and shape the way that we move and live and breathe as we go through the world? It's interesting. I read 2 studies recently. One of them was about liberals and conservatives and spending. It said that if you look at the average budget of the average liberal, average conservative, the way they spend their money, it's exactly the same. That their beliefs don't actually change one of the most basic habits that they have, which is their finances. They both spend way too much money at Starbucks. And then there's another study I read this year that said that the average charitable giving from Christians to non-Christians is about the exact same amount of money. Which doesn't surprise me when we live in a world where we have a new sect of belief that is non-practicing Christians. Can we be people that our orthodoxy informs our orthopraxy? That Jesus, having come, died, lived, showed us how to live, that him resurrecting from the dead, us having a confident hope in who he is, would it change the way we move and live and breathe and function in the world? And that's what Paul's doing. So we're in chapter 12. And so far we've looked at the beginning, it says, don't conform any longer to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Would you be living sacrifices? Boom, right there. Here's what I think he's doing there. He's putting mission in our heart. He's putting vision in our heart. He says, this is who we're going to be. We're going to be living sacrifices. Then last week, he showed us the team. He goes, we're moving from me to we. You have gifts. Some of you have the gift to serve, then serve. Your gift of kindness, then be kind. You have a gift of encouragement, then encourage. You have the gift to teach, then teach. Lead, then lead. Give, then give. Use your gifts to support the team. And today, as we read Romans chapter 12, verses 9 through 21, here's what I think he's doing. He's establishing culture. He's saying, here's your vision. Here's your team. Here's how you live, move, act. Here's how you live out your orthopraxy. Here's who you are. And anybody who's ever tried to build a team, whether it be a sports team, a family, a business, knows that culture is like the most important thing. Leadership training will tell you that culture eats vision for breakfast. You can have all these great signs, but if it doesn't live out in your life, it doesn't matter. And here's what Paul says. Ready? He says, don't just pretend to love others. Really love them. Hate what is wrong. Hold tightly to what is good. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. Never be lazy, but work hard and serve the Lord enthusiastically. Rejoice in our confident hope. Be patient in trouble and keep on praying. When God's people are in need, be ready to help them. Always be eager to practice hospitality. Bless those who bless you. Don't curse them. Pray that God will bless them. Be happy with those who are happy and weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with each other. Don't be too proud to enjoy the company of ordinary people. And don't think you know it all. Never pay back evil with more evil. Do things in such a way that everyone can see that you are honorable. Do all that you can to live in peace with everyone. Dear friends, never take revenge. Leave that to the righteous anger of God. For the scriptures say, I will take revenge, I will pay them back, says the Lord. Instead, if your enemies are hungry, feed them. If they are thirsty, give them something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals of shame on their heads. Don't let evil conquer you, but conquer evil by doing good. Woo! It's like a potpourri. You get to choose what you want. There's a whole bunch in there. Here's what I think he's doing. He's saying, I have this whole list of how you behave and how you live and how you act. I have your church house rules. And there's 10 in here. We're going to fly through them. But the first one, if I were to make a sign to put in my house to hang up that I want my kids to hear, he says, don't just pretend to love others. Really love them. I wrote this, love without strings attached. Love without strings attached. The word for love there is agape. It's this like unconditional love, which in and of itself doesn't have strings attached. And then he throws this other Greek word in there. It's anhypokritos, which means without hypocrisy. He says unconditionally love without hypocrisy. That's how we're supposed to be marked. As people who, you could say it this way, don't hold back love. And here's the hard part. So many of us have had love held back from us. So many of us, our experience of love is like, we haven't had real love. We've had fake love. We've had conditional love. We've had love with a lot of strings attached. And he said, that's just not going to be who you are. You're a living sacrifice lifestyle. We're cutting the strings off and we're going to go all in, even if they don't give it back. Even if they don't reciprocate. Even if you might get hurt in the process. Even if it's not there. We are going to be known as a people. Our culture as followers of Jesus is we love without strings attached. And then he says this, hate what is evil or wrong. Cling to what is good. Hold tightly to what is good. Cling to what is good. Hate what is wrong. That one's interesting to me. Because I think a lot of times we don't hate what's wrong. We get desensitized to what's wrong. I read this study that said that in the course of your life, you will see 19,000 deaths on TV. My wife and I, we started to watch FBI. We love it, by the way. And we started to watch the FBI series. But what I realized, I had that statistic in the back of my head. I'm like, dead, 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 dead. I'm so desensitized to watching people die. You don't even notice it. Paul says earlier, he says, don't conform any longer to the patterns of this world. The Message version actually says it as, don't get so well accustomed to the ways of this world that you just fit in without thinking about it. Nathan, will you throw up that Galatians passage? I wasn't going to read this, but I love it. It says, when you fall, no, that's not that one, the Message version. Here you go, I got it right here. We'll fix that later. Listen to the way it says it in the Message. I love it. It says, it's obvious what kind of life develops out of trying to get your own way all the time. Repetitive, loveless, cheap sex. A stinking accumulation of mental and emotional garbage. Frenzied and joyless grab for happiness. Trinket gods. Magic show religions. Paranoid loneliness. Cutthroat competition. All-consuming yet never satisfied wants. A brutal temper. An impotence to love or be loved. Divided homes and divided lives, small-minded and lopsided pursuits, the vicious habit of depersonalizing everyone into a rival, uncontrolled and uncontrollable addictions, ugly parodies of community. I could go on. Hate what's wrong. A selfish, individual, get my own way lifestyle will lead you there, but when we're part of a team that our mission is to offer our bodies as living sacrifices, we glue to the good. That hold tightly, that word in the Greek is glue. Like, what sticks to you? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it positivity? Is it negativity? A couple weeks ago, I went on my annual retreat. I go to a monastery in Portland, just south of Portland, Oregon, hanging out with my monks, as we do. And it's a moment just to kind of take a soul reflect on me, like what's going on inside of me. So I had a page of notes that just said soul notes. And as I would read and pray and think, I just write things I've noticed in my soul. Can I be honest with you? This last year, one of the notes said, I've noticed that negativity has been sticking to my soul while positivity's just been rolling off. Things that just aren't good for my life have been sticking, and they've been invading my entire life. They've been moving into my family. They've been moving into the way I treat my kids. They've been moving into my attitude at work. They've been moving into my life. And I just said, God, I don't want this. Could I glue to the good? I'm rubber, you're glue. That's what sticks to you. Glue to the good. Then he says this, next verse. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. That word is Philadelphia in there. So agape is unconditional love. Philadelphia is brotherly love, the city of brotherly love. This one is literally for us. He says, hey, look around this room. Look at the Christians in your life. How are you doing at honoring them? One theologian said, would you practice the sibling rivalry of out-honoring one another? Do your kids have that rivalry? Because mine don't. Out honoring one another. My daughter brought home a bow and arrow the other day to play one, and my kids have been fighting over them. They're like, well, you may have it, didn't you? That's just not what they do. Would you out honor one another? He said the way we're known is on our wall, man, we love without strings attached. We glue to what's good, and then we out honor one another. How would that change your family if you honored your wife, if you honored your husband? If your work was to say, can I just give you value? Can I just affirm the value God's given you? I grew up in a culture, though, where there was kind of an honor culture. And I don't know if you've been there. But at the church I grew up in, it was you would honor the people above you, the people that were doing awesome things, the people on the stage, the people who had lots of money. That's who you would honor. And so I naturally push against that. You ever been if that's how I was going, I'm going to push against that. But I heard somebody the other day, they were speaking, they said, no, at our church, who we are, we honor up, we honor down, we honor all the way around. We honor up, and then he started singing, but I can't do it. But we honor up, we honor down, we honor, would your home be different if your kids got honored? If your attitude wasn't to tear down, break down, lift yourself up, but your attitude was, I'm just going to out-honor other people. In marriage, contempt is the marker of a marriage that's bound to fail. I think honor is the thing that protects a marriage. Can we lift them up? Next verse says this. Never be lazy, but work hard and serve the Lord enthusiastically. I just wrote, work hard, be enthusiastic. Do you know that those two don't always go together? Have you ever been there? You're like, there's some people that work hard, but they are not enthusiastic. There are some people that are enthusiastic, but don't work hard. Where are my millennial? No, I'm just sorry. I am a millennial. I'm allowed to say that. Would those two go together? That word enthusiastic, it's two Greek words. It's en theos, in God. God in you. Would you recognize that when you go to work, God is in you and God has placed you where you are? When you go to your home, God is in you and God has placed you. When you go to school, students, God is in you and he has placed you. And maybe it's not where you want to be, but it's exactly where God has designed you to be. Would you reframe it as if God is inside of you, at work in you? It's powerful when we work hard and we live as if God is in us. We're enthusiastic. Then he says this, rejoice in our confident hope. Be patient in trouble and keep on praying. I just will keep on praying. You have hope. I believe this, when we stop praying, we usually stop believing. We definitely stop expecting. Would you keep praying that God would show up, that God will do work in you, that God will be faithful? Would you pray with the people in your home? I think that transforms the family. I think that changes the culture. I think that sets the culture. Would you keep it simple, but would you keep it real, and would you keep it up? Keep praying. And then he says this. I think he says that because the rest get a little harder. He says, when God's people are in need, be ready to help them. Always be eager to practice hospitality. So last week we talked about gifts, and I think if you ask my family, what's our gift? Like, what is our thing? We feel so called to be hospitable. Because we've had people create space for us, and it's transformed our life. This verse right here, I just wrote open hands, open homes, open hearts. This is my live, laugh, love sign right here. Open hands, open homes, open hearts. Paul's saying, hey, we're going to be people who love without strings attached. We glue to the good. We out-honor one another. We work hard and we're enthusiastic. We're going to keep praying. And when people show up, we're going to go, how can I give and lift you up? How can I meet real needs in a practical way? How can my home become a place for my community? My wife is so good at this. Anytime there's a holiday, she goes, we're going to create a space for our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is her row for hospitality. If you don't live on Flintwood Street, I'm not sure if you're in that, but if you're on Flintwood Street, you're going to be loved by Melissa Day. You're going to be welcomed. You're going to be known. I don't know where your sphere of influence is, but figure it out. And go, God, open hands, open homes, open my heart, and open their heart. And then he takes a turn here. He says, bless those who persecute you. Don't curse them. Pray that God will bless them. I couldn't do anything about it. I just wrote, bless those who persecute you. Bless them. That word persecute means to come after. Bless those who have come after you. Bless those who have hurt you. Bless those who have tweeted bad about you. Bless those who have said things that aren't true. Bless those who are closest to you that have wounded you. And don't curse them. Bless. He does his like little encouragement sandwich. He's like, bless, don't curse, bless. He's trying to say, would your heart posture change towards them? Because when you're persecuted, it doesn't start with the outside, it starts with the inside, and then it comes out of your mouth. And you say, please don't harbor bitterness, because bitterness is just like drinking poison that'll kill your own soul. Would you bless them? Would the words that you say and the motives that you have, would they change? Would you lift others up? Would you pray, God, would you do something? And I know that's hardest because oftentimes the people that have hurt you deepest live in your own home or are in your phone as family. And he's saying, would the words that you speak match the motive of God's heart, not yours? It would transform you. And then he moves to the next thing. He says, when God's people are in, he said that already. He says, be happy with those who are happy and weep with those who weep. Be happy with those who are happy and weep with those who weep. Bob Goff, he wrote Love Does. He said this, I used to want to fix people, but now I just want to be with them. Would you really be with people? If the church is always too busy running around, if the church is always too busy going, we miss people, man, people are going to feel overlooked. They're not going to want our Jesus because they don't want our life. Jesus, you look at him, he was happy with those who were happy. He turned water into wine. He threw a party. And then he goes to Mary and Martha's house when they told him that Lazarus is sick, and then Lazarus dies. And coming in with full intentions to raise him from the dead, what does he do? He stops. And he weeps with them. Could we just practice presence? By the way, you can't practice presence if you don't practice proximity. You got to get close. You got to lean in. Then it says this. Don't be too proud to enjoy the company of ordinary people, and don't think you know it all. I just wrote this, be humble, stay curious. Because I know when I stop listening to the voice of Jesus, that means I start to listen to the voice of David, and the voice of David thinks a lot about David and lifts David up a lot, and he's less humble and he's less curious. But we believe that there's the Imago Dei, the image of God, stamped on every single believer, stamped on every single person. And we get to see the face of Jesus in everyone we meet. And would you slow down enough to be able to see the people that God has put in front of you? And then lastly, it says, don't let evil conquer you, but conquer evil by doing good. Don't let evil conquer you, but conquer evil by doing good. I just wrote, overcome evil with good. Overcome evil with good. There's a verse right before this that says that when your neighbor comes, you'll put a coal. How does it word it? I gotta find that. That one's so good. Going back. I don't want to mess this one up because it's fun. We're just taking a moment here together. All right, it says this. If your enemies are hungry, feed them. If they're thirsty, give them something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals of shame on their head. Anybody feel like that's a weird one? Here's what this means. Because it doesn't mean burn their heads. It means that in this time, if you ran out of coals, you would put a bucket on your head, and you would go to your neighbor's house, and you would see if they had any coals to start your fire. He's saying, man, if people do you wrong, like give them good. When you get bad, give good. When you get bad, get the coal to build the fire back up in their life. Give them some. So here's who we are. Church house rules. We love without strings attached. We glue to what's good. We out-honor each other. We work hard and we're enthusiastic. We keep on praying. We have open hands, open homes, open hearts. We bless those who persecute you. We are really with people. We're humble and we stay curious, and we overcome evil with good. This is our culture. This is our family. Now, here's the crazy part. I know statistically I just gave you too much. I know you leave with 3 and you don't remember it the next week. I gave you 10. You're going to walk out here and remember nothing. But here's what I know. These don't happen with a one-time thing. We don't just choose to love with strings attached and now we're good. No, we got to lean in. We find a way to remind ourselves, this is who we are. I say every day, have a good day and be a good day. Be kind, encouraging, and look for lonely people. And do not let any boys kiss you, because I want it to sink into her soul. Paul writes, this is how you're a living sacrifice. What you do with who you are and what you have is how you worship God. Grab this. In Deuteronomy, Moses is speaking to the people. And he's trying to get the idea that you love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength locked in the hearts of people. And this is what he says to them. He says, and you must love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength. And you must commit yourself wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as a reminder. Write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. Put it everywhere. Put it on your lock screen, on a sign in your house, post-it notes everywhere. Let it repeat over and over in your heart that we love without strings attached, that we glue to the good, that we out-honor one another, that we work hard and we're enthusiastic, that we're going to keep on praying. Let it stick. Would you do this with me? He says, put it on your wrist. Would you take your hand and would you put it on your wrist? Let it be there. Let it see it. This is who you're becoming. He says, put it on your forehead. Would you touch your forehead? And here's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get it to your heart. Touch your heart. This is who we are. It's not just sayings. It's not just pithy. It's who we're becoming. We move from our wrists to our forehead to our heart, and it transforms who we are. And may you be people of the way. May you have a good day and be a good day because you have a family you're with. Can I pray for you? Jesus, this is a lot of stuff. But this is what happens when what we believe transforms how we live. Would you work in us and move in us? Would you challenge us? Would you convict us? Would you begin to change us, God, so that we can become more of who you created us to be, so we can become a greater reflection of your love. I pray this in your name.
Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song. 'Cause you are good, you're good. Oh, you are good, you're good. Oh, 'cause you are good, you're good. Oh, you are good, you're good. Oh, let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my tears. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song. 'Cause you are good, you're good. Oh, 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 'cause you're never gonna let me down. 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 Come on, sing that. 'Cause you're never gonna let me down. 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 Oh, 'cause you're never gonna let 'cause you're good, good Father.